Hello friends! How all the actors of the Mummy film series have changed. You'll see how they look then and now, and know their original names and age. The Mummy is the title of several horror adventure film series 1999, 2001 and 2008. Ankh-Sun-Amun, Patricia Velasquez, was the imperial concubine of Pharaoh Seti I. She began an affair with the high priest of Osiris, Imhotep, which was forbidden because no other men were allowed to touch her. Ankh-Sun-Amun committed suicide. Richard O'Connell, Brendan Fraser, is adventurer and former colonel of the French Foreign Legion, married on Evelyn Carnahan and father of Alex O'Connell. His adventures took a supernatural turn when he encountered the evil resurrected mummy Imhotep. Jonathan Carnahan, John Hannah, brother-in-law of Rick O'Connell. A clever man with an eye for treasure and wealth, Jonathan accompanied his sister and brother-in-law on digs and explorations from time to time, often causing some problems for others. Ardeth Day, Oded Fair, was a Medjay chieftain and warrior that led a band of warriors patrolling the Sahara Desert. A personal friend of the O'Connell family in later years, Ardeth Day dedicated much of his life ensuring with other Medjay warriors. Isaac Henderson Stephen Dunham was an American treasure hunter that was killed by the Imhotep after he and other treasure seekers opened a cursed chest in the lost city of the dead, Hamunaptra. Henderson was the most level-headed among his group. Pharaoh Seti I was the pharaoh of ancient Egypt in 1290 BC, governing well in his years until his untimely death at the hands of his most faithful high priest Imhotep and his future wife Ankh-Sun-Amun. He was portrayed by Aaron Ipade. Benny Gaber, Kevin J. O'Connor, was a former French foreign legionnaire who became guide of a party of treasure seekers that intended to reach Hamunaptra, the fabled city of the dead, and later died in the service of the cursed mummy Imhotep. David Daniels was an American treasure hunter without his sense of humor that accompanied four other men in the pursuit of the city of the dead, Hamunaptra, and the murdered cursed mummy Imhotep. He was portrayed by Corey Johnson. Dr. Alan Chamberlain, Jonathan Hyde, was an Egyptologist that accompanied a group of treasure hunters in the search of the lost city of the dead and was thus subject to a curse that would take down other men who disturbed some particular relics. Imhotep, Arnold Vosloo, was an ancient Egyptian priest, the high priest of Osiris and the advisor to Seti I. For his crimes of murdering the pharaoh and using dark magic from the Book of the Dead, Imhotep was executed with mummification. Bernard Bernie Burns was an American treasure hunter and the first to be killed by the ancient curse of the chest that contained the Book of the Dead. Burns was known for wearing thick, wire-rimmed spectacles. He was portrayed by Doc Watkins. Dr. Terence Bay was the curator of the Cairo Museum of Antiquities and the employer of Evelyn Carnahan. Dr. Bay had taken the post of museum curator while secretly holding the title of Medjay. He was portrayed by Erick Avari. Evelyn O'Connell, Rachel Weisz, at a young age acquired an interest in Egypt and its history. Commencing his career as a librarian, Evelyn ventured on an expedition to the ancient city of the dead, Hamunaptra, where she encountered a cursed mummy. Gad Hassan was the warden of a prison in Cairo. He had administrated the prison with a strong grip, adhering to harsh rules. In 1926, Hassan accompanied Rick O'Connell and Evelyn on an expedition to find Hamunaptra. He was played by Omid Djalili. Winston Havelock, Bernard Fox, a fighter pilot in the Great War fighting for Great Britain. Winston Havelock was the very last of the royal heir that gave his life to help Rick O'Connell defeat an ancient mummy brought back to life. Matthias was an Akkadian warrior that was well known as the Scorpion King among all that knew his identity, and would become an ancient evil that was stopped from decimating the earth by Rick O'Connell. He was portrayed by Dwayne Johnson. Izzy Buttons, Shaun Park. Before 1923, Izzy Buttons and Rick O'Connell were outlaws that operated with airplanes robbing banks. He helped Rick O'Connell and his wife Evelyn retrieve their son Alex O'Connell from a group of cultists. Jacques Lemon was the thief alongside two others named Spivey and Red that were under the employ of a cult leader by the name of Balthus Hafez, and who would later be killed by an ancient curse. He was portrayed by Joe Dixon. Milanese Patricia Velasquez was the reincarnation of Anck-su-namun, a concubine of the pharaoh Seti I that joined a cult whose intent it was to see that the high priest of Osiris Imhotep be resurrected and conquer the earth. Lochna, Edwale Akinwe Ajbay, was the bodyguard of Milanese and chief enforcer of the cult of Imhotep, led by Balthus Hafez, who would work with the cult to obtain power before finally meeting his end at the hands of Arthur Day. Balthus Hafez was originally a curator in the British Museum in charge of ancient Egyptian artifacts and antiquities when he was corrupted by the lure of power that would turn to evil and lead a cult. He was portrayed by Alun Armstrong. Red Willis, Bruce Byron, was the leader of three thieves that were under the employ of the British Museum curator turned cultist leader Balthus Hafez, that would later be killed by an ancient curse. Among three thieves, he was the most aggressive. Jacob Spivey was one of three thieves that were under the employ of a cult leader by the name of Balthus Hafez, and who would later be killed by an ancient curse. Spivey was the least intelligent of the three thieves. He was played by Tom Fisher. Evelyn O'Connell, Maria Bello, at a young age acquired an interest to Egypt and its history. Commencing her career as a librarian, Evelyn ventured on an expedition to the ancient city of the dead, Hamunaptra, where she encountered a cursed mummy. Alexander O'Connell, Lou Ford, is the son of Evelyn and Rick O'Connell. He accompanied his parents on many of their exploits, and he was kidnapped by cultists in his youth, faced an ancient mummy Imhotep, trained to become a Medjay warrior. Ziyuan, Michelle Yeoh, was shown to be a powerful and knowledgeable witch, one who was renowned for knowing the secrets of immortality. She that assisted Rick O'Connell in defeating the ancient dragon emperor Han once he had been brought to life. Meng was a former general that once was under the command of the Emperor Han, executed under the Emperor's command, and returned to life by Ziyuan's powerful ancient spell. Meng was portrayed by actor Russell Wong. General Yang, Anthony Wong Chao Sang, was a taciturn. He was a Chinese militant general that, alongside others, served in a paramilitant group dedicated to restoring the ancient Emperor Han to life, losing his life in the attempt of his goal. Lin, Isabella Leong, is ninja daughter of an ancient Chinese emperor sorceress and top general. Lin was born immortal. Lin, for the thousands of years that she remained alive, stood watch over the tomb which hosted the remains emperor. Maguire, Liam Cunningham, was Irishman known by many as Mad Dog. Maguire befriended Rick O'Connell in the past, when these two had served in the Foreign Legion. Maguire was well known for being a heavy drinker, and though he could pilot the plane. Emperor Han, Djalili, was a Chinese warlord who succeeded in becoming the first emperor of China. However, his quest for immortality ultimately led to his being cursed and entombed. He was later resurrected but was defeated by Rick O'Connell. Alex O'Connell, Pretty Bold, is the son of Evelyn and Rick O'Connell. Once Alex came of age, he had studied archaeology, tried to sign up in an air force, and eventually became an archaeologist by profession, overshadowing his father for a time. Roger Wilson, David Calder, was a professor that worked alongside of Alex O'Connell, becoming his mentor, and was in league with a secret Chinese militant faction that followed the resurrected Emperor Han being killed by the resurrected warlord. Colonel Choi was a Chinese militant colonel that served in the paramilitant Chinese regiment which intended to bring back the Emperor Han, dying in the process of achieving the regiment's goal. Choi was portrayed by Jessey Meng. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please share it on social networks, like it, and of course subscribe to the channel.